welcome to PopCultX episode 63. Wow, 63 of them. That's not a small amount. So we've been in this quite some time. So you'd think we would have it down by now, but we don't. We just kind of wing it. And we enjoy talking to you guys about all things pop culture, whether it be movies, music, books, comic books, everything under the pop culture umbrella. Once again, I'm your host, Daniel, along with Gabriel. We're here hopefully every week to give you our insight into our perspective from our Gen X perspective on all things pop culture. So happy summer, Gabe. The summer solstice we just passed. So now it's officially summer. That is really cool because, you know, a lot of good things are coming up in summer, especially if you're a fan of film and movies and summer blockbusters. So what have you been up to? Has there been anything that you saw this past week that you consider, yeah, that was really cool?
Yeah. So we made it to AMC and we saw Lightyear, which is
okay, cool.
Pixar's, it's supposed to be like the origin story of Buzz Lightyear and how he becomes a popular toy, and which right. I'm not really a fan of Toy Story. I think I've seen one of them, but we went and saw it, and it's pretty good. It's basically like an action adventure, type movie. And it's pretty funny. It has a lot of good characters in it, a lot of diversity. African-American characters are in it, which is not the norm when it comes to like space movies. Typically that's a space that's filled with white people. So I was really pleasantly surprised by the cast that was in it. So one of the things that I liked is just the humor. There's a character of the name of Socks, which is
that a robot cat?
It's a robot cat, and that I think steals the show for me. That's like when I was done watching.
That's what I heard.
I want a robotic cat, and so I think that's probably stole the show for me. Other than that, really good special effects. We saw it in 3D, which I haven't seen a 3D movie in a really long time.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it's kind of neat to enjoy that. And otherwise, it was just a really good movie. There was a blip of controversy. If people who have been paying attention know that some countries and some conservatives were upset that Disney didn't cut out by their demand a same-sex kiss between two women. It literally is like 5 seconds in the film. It's actually a really touching moment in the film. I don't want to ruin anything for people who haven't seen it, but it's a really touching and heartfelt moment for the characters. And I don't see how anyone could see that and come away with it like feeling angry or upset. Like it's literally just two people that are embracing for like this quickest of moments. And I don't understand why people get so upset, but Disney didn't, or Pixar didn't bow down to them. So, oh well.
That's good.
Yeah. But it's really good. I recommend it for people that are fans of, I mean, I don't really know if it's really for people who are fans of Toy Story, because it's not Toy Story. It's the real life character behind the toy. So I think it's actually really good for people who aren't fans of Toy Story, because it really has
nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Indirectly related to Toy Story, but it's its own thing. And I enjoyed it because I'm not a really big fan of Toy Story. So it was a lot of fun. The voice character actors did a great job.
Cool. I heard it was like, so people leading up to its release were trying to explain what it was going to be about. We're trying to determine what the movie was going to be about. And I heard there was like I don't know if it's true because I haven't seen it yet. Is there like a little sentence at the beginning of the movie that says something like, this is the movie that made Andy fall in love with like Buzz Lightyear, the character, or something like that. And that's why he saw a movie and made him fall in love with the Lightyear character. This is that movie or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Why couldn't they just release that from the get-go? It would have saved everyone the contemplation. What is it? What is it? So that's cool.
Yeah,
that's a good.
And I mean, that was the other controversy, that they didn't have Tim Allen voice the character. But if it's not the toy,
exactly,
then and so it's just like sour grapes. It's like, get over it. Like, I mean, like he didn't get paid enough. Like, are you upset that he didn't get enough money? Like, he's rich. He had his what 4 or 5 movies of Toy Story. Why is it to like why complain? Why
Right, right.
poor rich guy?
Yeah, it's just like poor rich guy. Yeah, it's just like people just love to complain. They really do. I mean, I get the same thing with like the whole Star Wars and people complaining about Obi-Wan Kenobi series or some of the characters in there not meeting their pre-classified notion of what the Star Wars character should be. It's like just shut up and enjoy Star Wars.
Yeah,
You're getting content here. You're getting like more live action universe that you would never have seen before. Why don't you just enjoy it? Just enjoy that fact. You don't like it? Fine. Keep that to yourself. You don't have to go complain everywhere to everyone as loud as you possibly can. It's just annoying.
yeah. Another movie that I recommend that I saw over the last week and a half was Cha Cha Real Smooth, which
Mm-hmm. The Apple Studios one, right?
caught me off guard because I didn't know anything about it. We just started watching it, and it's basically about this young man who comes back home, fresh
Mm-hmm.
out of college, and is living with his mom, his stepfather, and his younger brother. And he starts going to bar mitzvahs or bat mitzvahs,
A
and
professional party starter, right?
and the moms realize like he's really good at throwing parties and getting people hype. And he's motivated really by um, letting his brother have fun. Like, let's have a fun
Yeah.
party for my brother. And it's really cool. Like the main character is just like a really nice guy. It's really weird because it's like it's so unusual to like have a character. Well, for me, to have a character that you just like, he's just really a nice guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's almost the whole plot. Is just like you're a really great guy. Like he's really good with kids. He's a great older brother. Like he's literally the kind of brother that like I imagine younger brothers want to have. Like
Mm-hmm.
and this isn't a condemnation of my older brother, one of them, but um, it's the kind of older brother that I would have wanted that like has your back, like is looking out for your best interests, and giving you like tips on how to go after your love interest and how to be a man and uh, just a cool older brother. And one of the characters that he gets involved with is as a young single mother who is the mother of a young teenage daughter that has autism,
Right.
and that's something that you don't really see on the screen much
Mm-hmm.
very often. And so that's something else that kind of was interesting to watch. And how he relates to that character and becomes very protective of her. And so it's just like a really cool character driven movie.
Right.
Um, and it's it's reminiscent of being a young man in your early 20s when maybe you don't have a 100% laser like focus of what you want to do with your life.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you've had a little bit of heartbreak, maybe you've had like some little obstacles in your life where um, you might be discouraged and it's kind of like a funk and how you get out of that, but like at the same time like it's really exciting because you have your whole life ahead of you.
Yeah.
And so it is kind of like a sweet moment to kind of reminisce about that time in your life. But it's a really good movie. The filmmakers are really good, and
Um,
so I really recommend it.
maybe that's why it was so unusual for us because we're like seeing everything through like a cynical lens now. Where it's like, okay, it can't be all that good all the time for him. Something's got to drop.
Right.
When's something gonna go wrong? Because we've been through life. We know it isn't all roses and flowers and everything isn't all bright eyed. Because
I feel like it's sort of a reflection of our society, right? Like I think that when we are faced with people that are very good, like we're like, oh, there's no way that he can be that good,
yeah,
or
that's
there's
true.
no, like they have to have an ulterior
There's
motive.
something wrong.
And if
Exactly.
you
Yep.
remember sort of like the old school family sitcoms like Happy Days and
Yeah.
how people were like, no, American families aren't like that. Like Roseanne is really how families are. And I'm sure there's truth to that, but then also there are a lot of families that are actually really good families that are like Happy Days. Like I related more to like the good parents than like
Hmm.
the trashy parents like Roseanne.
Yeah.
Um, and so like I feel like we've gotten to this point where like we accept like the lowest bar standard in
Yeah.
people and then we're
Hmm.
like, well, that's how everyone is, and if you can't judge them, you can't, um, you know, don't say anything bad about them because like they have a right. They're, yes, people are flawed, and you should accept their imperfections, but it's like we should aspire to have be good people.
Yeah,
And
of
so like
course.
it's kind of surprising to see a character that like isn't the anti-hero or isn't so flawed that like yeah, you still like them but like they do wrong, like,
Hmm.
and so it was kind of weird to see someone that's just such a nice guy, but you really do kind of really just like this character. I mean, he's really likable. And it's just an enjoyable film, so
Well,
I
that's
would really
cool. I mean,
recommend it. Yeah.
I look forward to seeing it. When I saw the trailer for it, I was like, this looks really good. And then I saw Apple Studios produce it, and Apple Studios just been killing it. I mean, with Coda, with
Yeah.
this movie, with Ted Lasso, Severance. I don't know if you ever watched the show Severance yet. Oh, such a fantastic
I
series.
tried. That's the one where like you forget your life,
Yeah,
right? When you go
yeah,
in.
yeah.
I tried. Like I kind of like I was getting into it, and then I don't know. It was like there wasn't enough that I was enjoying. Like it was an interesting concept, but me actually watching it, there wasn't like it's like one of those things that I'll be on my cell phone when I'm watching it. Then I think
Mm,
I'm missing out on some things because it doesn't fully capture my attention. So
gotcha.
but like I fault the creators of the show because like you didn't do enough to like pull me in.
Well, yeah, maybe not pull you in, but I got pulled in. I mean, after it is little bit slow getting into it, but then after episode like 3 or 4, it just hooked me, and I
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, gotta watch more, gotta watch more, gotta watch
I feel
more."
like I have to really like a character in it to draw my attention and like really get me stuck. Like I have to compel to watch it,
Hmm.
and none of those characters like really like I don't know I forget the name of the main character, but like he's not really likable. There's like nothing
I
that
can
you
see what you
want
mean.
to
I know
root
he's
for.
very vanilla, Adam Scott, and he plays that very. He plays it that way, I think, on purpose because I guess with the tragedy from his outer life, which is what forced him to have the procedure to go inside, so that way he half of the day he wouldn't have to think about that, which is pretty interesting. So, like, he had a tragic event. I think is like his wife was in a car crash and she passed away, and in order to you know not have to dwell on that all the time, he made the severance decision to get severed, I guess. So that way his working hours are spent not even knowing about that, which is
Yeah.
an interesting concept. It's a way of forgetting of coping, right? So,
It kind of it reminds me of like the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind, except
fantastic
in
movie.
that movie it was like the colors, the cinematography,
Yeah.
the creativity, like and they sucked all of that out and created a really bland, boring, non-descriptive world that's like
Yes.
and it's like okay, what's draw like yes, there is part of it that's like, oh, I want to learn more, but do that episode 2 to make me want to keep going. If this were to walk in like that kind of little bit kind of like entice me, John Turturro,
Yeah.
but it's like it's so slow that it's like
It is
I
a
got
slow
this
burn.
for a
Definitely
while.
true. Yeah, it is a
I
slow
got
burn.
I give you 2 episodes to draw me in, and if it's not happening, that's on you guys. Sorry.
It is worth watching, sticking it out, I think. I mean, I
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. It was like you said, it was hard to get past those first couple episodes, but I think for me it was the mystery around his character that you didn't like, that you
yeah,
weren't sure what he was all about. That's what kind of kept me going because I wanted to find out more about him. So I
yeah,
wanted to learn, okay, what are we missing? What is it? What are they not telling us yet? What are the filmmakers, Ben Stiller and the writers, and what? Why aren't they only giving us half of the info here? So that's
yeah,
what kept me going. Just the
yeah. And
allure of it all.
I am a huge fan of Patricia Arquette, so I
Hmm.
did want to watch it for her, but I couldn't get into it.
Oh well.
Another show that like I did, but my pocketbook said, "Sorry, you're not gonna subscribe to get this show." Is they did a remake of Queer as Folk, and I'm not sure if you've been aware about it, but many years ago there
I
was an
remember Queer
English
as Folk
show
show. I didn't
called
watch it,
Queer
but I
as
remember
Folk,
it. Yeah.
And then they did an American version, probably when we were like 95. I want to say like high
Okay.
school, first
Hmm.
college years. I didn't really see. I saw some of it, and then now they're remaking it. They remade it, and what's cool about it is that it's very much um, the characters are way more diverse. So instead of a group of white men, gay men, there's Afro Latinos, there's African Americans, there's someone in a wheelchair,
Oh, okay.
there's a non binary person, there's actually a couple non binary people, there's a transgender woman on just plethora
Yeah.
of, I
Yeah.
mean, everything but the kitchen sink. But not in a tokenism way. Like I really felt, I only watched one episode because it's free, and then you have to subscribe after that. Um, but the reason why I brought it up is that like almost immediately I was drawn to the characters. And one of my favorite actresses is in it, Juliette Lewis. She
Oh,
plays the
okay. Hmm.
mother of one of the a high school student, and like Patricia Arquette, she's one of those actresses that I'm just like super drawn to. Like
Hmm.
if you mention her name, I will watch whatever she's in, pretty much. Like I've even so much that when I was in London, I there was a play that she was in. Um, we bought tickets. I was like, I have to see. Like, it's kind of a sign. Like, what are the odds that I will
Right.
be in
Right. Right.
London?
Right.
One of my favorite actresses is here. I have to go see it. Worst play I've ever seen in my life. Um, but I did enjoy it because I thought like I saw her basically doing Juliette Lewis, if that makes sense, like
Hmm.
being very over dramatic, being very volatile with her performance, like doing all the things that I would want her to
Yeah.
do in a performance. Just the plot was stupid. And so, but it was fun. It was like, okay, now I can say that I saw her in like the West End theater.
There you
Um,
go.
but yeah, so that's a good example of a show that I'm like borderline wanting to subscribe to that channel. I forget, I think it's Peacock that you have to pay to get like the other shows.
Oh, okay. I have Peacock. I'll check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, it's, is it Peacock or what's another, the I don't
There's
know, I think
Showtime,
no,
Paramount.
it's Peacock. Yeah, it's
Okay.
Peacock. And so the first episode is free. I would recommend watching it. I think it is interesting, even if you're not part of the LGBT community, or it's very character driven. They have
Hmm.
a lot of, I mean, another actress that's in it that is kind of surprised me. I wasn't aware of is, um, oh God, what's her name from Sex and the City? The older lady that played Samantha. Um, I can't think of her name, and she's in it, and she plays,
Okay.
and it takes place in New Orleans, which is like one of my favorite places in the world, and so it's really cool.
That's
It's
cool.
just cool to kind of see New Orleans. I think that I'm a big fan of like watching shows or movies sometimes that like just remind you of places that you've been,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah. I
San
hear you.
Francisco or New
Hmm.
York, and you're just like,
Hmm.
it's a cool environment. Like I want to relive those little like flavors of the city.
Yeah, definitely. Which brings up a good question, and you kind of answered it for me already. Do you feel like you would go watch any project or listen to any music of anyone, actor, musician that you enjoy without knowing more about it? Like you said
Yeah,
with Juliette Lewis and West End, or like even a city. Like for example, my mom, she really wants to see the new Top Gun movie because takes place in San Diego. Because she's from San Diego. Well, not from, but she's lived there pretty much her whole life. She lives in Arizona now, so she really, when she saw that they were making a sequel, really wanted to see it. Mainly, I think, because it has features San Diego. So, is there, beyond Juliette Lewis, is there anyone, or do you think you do that for anyone else?
yeah. There's a handful of actors and performers that I'm
Hmm.
like solidly like a fan. Like I will go and watch stuff regardless of whether or not. And it's because it's like their character. Like I almost trust their them knowing what I'll like. So the first and obvious answer would be like Lady Gaga.
Hmm.
I think she really gets her audience. Like, and
Yeah.
she delivers things consistently that her audience likes. Um, I know that if she's going to put an album out, if she's going to be in a movie, if she's going to write a book, I will probably 9 out of 10 love it.
Hmm.
Uh, she did a book with Terry Richardson, which we don't
Oh,
love Terry
really?
Richardson's anymore. Yeah,
Hmm.
he followed her on tour and took pictures of her. Um, it kind of controversial because he's like,
Yeah.
Terry Richardson, um but the photography book, the foundations that she has
Mm-hmm.
created and donates time to, the
Mm-hmm.
music, the albums I love, the Tony Bennett. I mean, it's like it's almost like eerie how well she understands her audience. Like of all the old crooners that she
Mm-hmm.
would partner with, Tony Bennett's the one that like I love.
Yeah.
Like if she would have picked, I mean, I don't even know who else, like Harry Connick Jr. I would have been like, ugh, this is weird. But everyone loves Tony Bennett, and
Mm-hmm.
it's perfect. Another example was um, Liza Minnelli when she was like treating her so
Right. On the
kindly,
Academy Awards,
and
yeah.
her bond with her. Um, Another one would be Angelina Jolie. I think she makes really smart choices in films. Um, that would be someone that I more than likely would go see. I've seen a couple of her films that like weren't my favorite, but I will
Mm-hmm.
still watch them because it's Angelina Jolie.
Right.
And probably authors like books. I would say like Stephen King. I'm gonna pretty much buy whatever he puts out and like, just because it's like he's gonna put out a quality product. Um, Someone else who's I would love to give a little shout out to is a comic book cover artist that is like now one of my favorite. There's like a handful of people that I buy comics just because of the covers that they do. They
Mm-hmm.
don't do the
Mm-hmm.
interior artwork, but they do like variant covers.
Yeah.
And her name is Maria Wolf. Uh, she is Mexican American, and she is badass, like just in intricate designed characters, but like in a really kick ass like if a picture could be heavy metal, like that's her. Like when you
Oh,
see it,
nice. Okay.
it
Okay.
has
Mm-hmm.
a hard rock sound. Like
Yeah.
um, I don't know if this will come up, but that's
Oh, wow.
a
Yeah,
cover
that just
that's
popped
coming
right
out.
there.
That's a cover to Sabretooth that's coming out. It's already on pre-order, which I will definitely go out and get. I've had a couple of she's done some stuff for like New Mutants. She did one of Magic that was like really kick ass. So her name, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna go out and get the comic. Like
Yeah.
I know that it's just going to be a quality cover, and I do collect comic books just for the cover
Oh, me too.
sometimes. So like it could be like I'm not reading Sabretooth, but I'm going to go get issue number 5 for her. So she's another example of someone that I will run out, go buy the
That's
product
cool.
just
Yeah.
because of her name.
Yeah.
What about you? Who's
Uh,
your
well, sticking with comic books, the first one that comes to my mind is David Aja. He did a lot of the Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch. He has a very distinct, like, dual tone color scheme to it. So you can, when I'm just perusing through the comic book store and I see his cover, I'm like, I know who did that one because he's very unique style. And it's the series Hawkeye that they just did on Disney Plus used a lot of his um, patterns and logo styles and everything for
yeah
the for that series. So pay the man. I think there was a whole big controversy. Disney didn't like reach out and like pay their artists who created that style. Pay him, give
yeah
him the what is due his. But getting to film realm or music, it's like I think Lady Gaga is one. I appreciate her decision making when it comes to what she does creatively because
yeah
I know she's gonna put out something that will be enjoyable to me. Um, I would even go say Bradley Cooper. I enjoy his work, his artistic style, and I would watch even if I don't know the project. Like what's the latest one that he was in? What the Paul Thomas Anderson film?
oh
Some pizza or
it's
something pizza. I don't know, but I like PTA,
yeah
but I'd watch that more for Bradley Cooper's performance. Um, who else would fit that bill for me? This is going to be a little off. I like Kevin Hart,
yeah
and I enjoy his performances. Although they tend to almost be the same character. If you look at a lot of his action comedy movies that he's done, like Central Intelligence, or even this latest one that just came out on Netflix Plus that I just watched, or Netflix, The Man from Toronto. So it's a comedy action movie. With he stars with Woody Harrelson, and it's irreverent, and as it goes along in there, it becomes even more so silly. But it wasn't taking itself too seriously, which is what I enjoyed about it, because it they realized it was just a silly comedy, and they were just playing that up, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. I didn't know anything about it. I just watched it. Like, okay, I'll watch a Kevin Hart film. I know he's going on tour. I enjoy his comedy, his stand up. I mean, he's not well. He's for a lot of people, not for everyone. Um, who else? I
I
mean,
have one that I think you would agree with me, and I think it speaks to our generation and our being men from the born in the 70s. Quentin Tarantino, I
yeah,
think, is someone that I consistently look forward to his films. I mean, they're
hmm
few and far between. He takes his time making movies, but
yeah,
from Reservoir Dogs all the way to current, I pretty much love everything that he does. I know that he's problematic in some areas, but
hmm
uh, if you tell me there's a Quentin Tarantino movie that just came out, I'm gonna want to watch it.
I agree, and I really enjoy his take on like revisionist history. So like Inglorious Bastards, where they killed Hitler at the end there, and even Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right, with the whole Manson killings and
Yeah,
everything, and how he sets his characters and universe in that time frame within real world events, but then he revises them to, I don't want to say a better history, but it's the whole what if type of thing, which I really enjoy. So yeah, I agree with you, Tarantino, and also speaking of Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez. I will watch any of his films that come out, no matter what they are, because I enjoy his style of filmmaking, his guerrilla on the ground, approach to it, and it's just, yeah, that's another one, and those two are linked
did you know that
together. I
he
think.
directed a Lady Gaga video?
No, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, he directed the Lady Gaga Ariana Grande song
Oh,
"Rain."
yeah, yeah, you're right. Yes, yes, it's right. The Rain on Me, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, he also did some Star Wars. He did like Book of Boba Fett. He was like one of the directors and showrunners on that. So yeah, he's also another one that I enjoy.
yeah. He was really good at bringing like the special effects, but it not like letting it overwhelm the story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he's like a master of like that sci-fi special effects, like almost grindhouse, like kind
Yeah.
of movie type stuff, but like a notch above that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's really where he has like carved his little niche into filmmaking. Another one that I think maybe is our audience may not really know a lot is Pedro Almodovar.
Oh
I
yeah.
love
Yeah.
all of his movies. He's a Spanish filmmaker, extremely prolific. Like he has tons of movies that he's made. I pretty much love all of them. They're very character driven, very
Mm-hmm.
eccentric, very unique characters. The actors that he's worked with are amazing. Antonio Banderas, Penelope Cruz, Javier Bardem. Um, just amazing visuals, color, aesthetic. I
Yeah.
could watch his films non like I want to live in the world that his movies existed. They're so cool. We're like,
mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever done this, but like I've watched movies and it's like, why can't my world be so visually appealing? Like cool wallpaper and people are dressed really cool.
mm-hmm.
And in his movies, everyone's dressed with like a weird 70s sort of retro futuristic, vibe or very colorful. And then you go out and then everyone's wearing like a black polo shirt with khaki jeans and or khaki pants. And you're like, oh, why can't I live in that world? It's just really cool.
Yeah, I hear you. And I even go like further when I'm watching films and movies, and it's like, for me, okay, I see the main storyline. What the director or filmmaker is telling us. We see that, but my mind's like, okay, that character in the background, what's their life about? So like, I want to see a film. Just sticking with Star Wars because I'm wearing the shirt. What is the guard on Station XYZ? What does he do when he gets off work for the day? I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just some weird stuff like that that like always enthralls me. That makes me want to know more and makes just my mind goes in all crazy different amount of directions. What's their life like when
It's
they get?
because we're a byproduct of the choose your own adventure books. You want the control.
That's true.
Turn to page 84 or turn to page 190. and as you're talking about that, I literally was like, how cool would that be if you're like watching a film and you're like, okay, do you go with this character or do you go with this one? And
Hmm.
it just
Branches out, yeah.
yeah, branches out and proliferates into all these stories. I mean, it would be impossible to make, but it would be really cool to be like, you know what, that character, and like we were talking about earlier, that I'm not attracted to that character. That character doesn't appeal to me.
Hmm.
I want to follow that Patricia Arquette character. Like,
Right,
what's
right.
her life about? Like, what's she going on with that? And and you even see things just from their perspective. So like, if you chose that path, you don't know what's going on. So then if their paths intersect again, you're just as surprised as that character.
That's cool,
That'd be
yeah.
really cool. That's a neat premise that I think, I don't know, maybe when we're 80, that the technology, when we're just like brains floating in a jar in the Matrix, they can like
Well,
plug that in.
I think if I remember correctly, Netflix did try to do something with their Black Mirror
Yeah,
show. What was it called?
it was like
Bandersnatch, I
yeah,
think,
yeah,
where they tried to give kind of like a little bit of choices in
yeah.
which way you can go and do stuff, which I think is really cool. I mean, you're right; we are a product of that, and flipping page 84. No, go back, go back, go back, and wanting to make those decisions and having them. I think that's where augmented reality and like VR are gonna really, once they get it all together, you're gonna really come in because you're gonna be able to live that life in that other viewpoint and just see, okay, what's this character seeing? Oh, that's cool. So you're able to live the life of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that annoys me with video games is that there's a clear path that you have to take. And my because I'm a weirdo, like my brain doesn't follow that path. So I end up just like walking against a wall over and over again until the video game's like, no, idiot, you're supposed to pick up the key. And I'm like, but I don't want to pick up the key. Like I don't want to go down that path. Like and I think that that's what like I have such a hard time with like following that strict because you're not going to go anywhere, right? Like you have to do that in order for the game
Yes,
to proceed. Otherwise, you just stand around doing nothing forever.
that's true for the old games and some of the newer games. What they consider the open world concept, where you don't have to follow. There is the main storyline, and
Yeah,
you could take that and you could finish that and then continue playing on afterwards, or you don't even have to do that. You can do everything else in the game. But yeah, the story won't progress further until you pick up the key, but you can go do everything else in the game that you want, which
yeah,
is kind of fun. It's the open world concept. I mean, I'm playing a game right now that's similar to that essence, where you have the main storyline, you have secondary quests and stuff, and it's up to me which one I want to follow, if I even want to do it, if I just want to run around killing things all the time.
yeah.
But yeah, it's control, man, control.
I just like while we're talking, I'm like, I wonder if there are choose your own adventure like adult books. Like, has that like because I'm sure that
Mm.
we're not the only Gen Xers that would be like,
Hmm.
I would read that. Like, I think it'd be kind of cool to have like a
Yeah,
choose your own adventure, but like obviously not for a kid.
right.
Uh,
Like
so
a
I
horror story
yeah,
or
that
something
sounds
like
kind
that.
of
That'd be kind of
cool. Like,
fun.
oh, you just got eaten by the devil now because you chose wrong, or you escaped the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You're the lone
Do
survivor,
you go into the car that's running and ready to go, or do you go hide behind the curtain of chainsaws?
right?
Hmm.
Like, did we just create a genre of book? Like should we copyright
We
that?
should. We should reach
How,
out to some authors. Let's write
how
those
like
books.
honestly, how cool would that be if like it was a horror novel and you had to choose your own adventure and you either
Hmm.
are the victim, you're the survivor, you
Right, right.
got, like, that would be really cool.
That'd be kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
Adult choose your own adventure.
yeah,
We should look into that and see if it's out there. We should get someone on the show so they could talk about
yeah. And if it's not out there, that was my idea.
it. Copyright 2022.
Now, one last thing before we go. I also did, I forgot to mention to you this. I saw this really cool comedian by the name of Mateo Lane up in La Jolla. I think it's the comedy store or
Yeah, I
the
think Comedy Stores in La Jolla.
comedy store. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's the one that Polly Shore's mom used to own. Um, and he's like a super, like, I think he's beyond up and coming because, like, he had 6 shows, they were all sold out.
Oh wow.
So I was kind of lucky to get tickets. I once I saw that he was coming, I immediately like told everyone like we have to go see it. Super funny. It was like an hour and a half of stand up. It was really funny. His name is Mateo Lane. He is a Italian American with mixed with some Mexican, I think. Uh, Gay guy from Jersey. So he has a lot of interesting things to
That's
like
yeah.
draw from.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just really funny. Like it was such a good time to be at a comedy show again. Like I haven't been to one in a while. He's really funny. Um, I he is very popular on Instagram, on the internet. So if you Google him, you definitely will find a lot of stuff to consume. But he's really funny. I really recommend anyone that. I think he
Okay.
went to LA next, so he's probably like as we speak playing in LA, and then he said he was going back to the East Coast. But it just made me appreciate comedy again. Like
Yeah,
obviously we've had Jose on the show twice now. It's such an interesting talent that they
it
have.
is.
To
Mm-hmm.
be able to go up on stage and pontificate, tell stories, tell jokes, get distracted by maybe a comment from the audience, and then go down that route and still be funny, and then
Mm-hmm.
go back to
And
what they
pick
were
it right back
probably
up. Yeah,
talking about.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
He talked about that, about how it's just like repetition, and it's training his mind to like know what is next and what he's going to say. And because of COVID, he wasn't performing, and he mentioned how his first time back, he was caught off guard, and he was like, "Oh shit! Like I'm not, I
Where am
haven't
I?
been training yet." And then there was I forgot the comedian before, but they are an actor that is going to be on that a League of Their Own remake.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so that was interesting. They're non-binary. They were very funny. They're not as, I think her name was Molly. I don't know what her last name was, but she's probably going to get more attention soon because that A League of Their Own show, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure is. I think it's probably not out yet, but will be coming out soon. So maybe she'll be making a name for herself. But she was also really cool, really funny. Uh, so yeah,
Sounds like fun.
check them out. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. And I think it's a fun night to like go out, have dinner, have some drinks, and then go see a comedian. It's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Nothing wrong with a good laugh.
Not that controversial of a statement, but I will
Oh
die
my gosh, Gabe, you
on
said
Mount
something like that.
yeah. So that was my week and a half to 2 weeks in pop culture.
Very cool.
Good times, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Anything
cool.
else? Yeah. Anything else that you have?
Nope, I had a boring week. Bought a couple comic books. Bought Old Man Hawkeye #1.
Nice.
That was cool. That was a fun series. I finished reading. Speaking of scary stuff, Fear Itself. I'm not sure if you read that series or not, from 2011. It's basically it's like the Avengers essentially, and Red Skull's daughter Sin finds a hammer that awakens Odin's brother or something like that, and he comes and basically just demolishes everyone. It's really cool, interesting storyline. Look it up.
Yeah.
It's on. I don't know if you have the Marvel app. It's called Fear Itself.
Yeah, I do. I'll have to check it out. Tomorrow is New Comic Book Wednesday, so everyone go out and let me know if there's anyone that's listening that can recommend anything that's cool, like Fear
Yeah,
Itself, that we should be going and buying. Sometimes I feel like I miss out because I'm not in the loop. Like I'm not
I hear you.
super cool insider with comic books, so sometimes I do miss out before it's like super expensive to then buy at #1. So help us out and tell us what is the up and coming new book to read, the new series to
Hmm.
invest in, because I need to know before it's too late.
Yeah, before it gets too expensive. Yeah,
Yeah,
I hear you.
cool. So you know what I'll be doing tomorrow? I'll be on my lunch at the comic book store getting new stuff.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
All right. All right, everyone. Well, let's wish Gabe luck on his treasure hunt for treasures, comic books, and whatnot. And thank you guys so much for tuning in, for stopping by, for hanging out with us for a little bit. We appreciate it. Make sure you share, like, follow, all that fun stuff. And yeah, give us your feedback. Tell us what you want to hear more about. What is on your mind that we can talk about for you? Let us know. Make this a two-way street.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We will see you next time then.
See ya.